I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of Monday, June 26, 2023 to order. I ask that all not signed in, please do so. Please turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices. Please conduct any private conversation in the hallway or outside. This meeting room is equipped with inductive loop hearing assistance system. You'll be able to hear conversations through the microphones on hearing aids with a T-switch, and emergency exits can be found to your right and to your left. This meeting is also live streamed via YouTube with text commenting available. Now, if you'd please join us in a salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we should declare Councilman Mike Guinan necessarily absent this evening. We do have 6 employees celebrating birthdays in the month of July, starting with the second with Susie Mandrino, Kurt Dillman on the 17th, John DeCook on the 18th, Eric Link on the 20th, our Director of Finance on the 28th, and Mr. Bill Brown on the 29th. So happy birthdays to all. All town facilities will be closed on Monday and Tuesday, July 3rd and 4th for the 4th of July. The July 10th first meeting of the month will be a pay bills only meeting. We may have one eminent domain procedural resolution. This has to do with seeker for the board's consideration that evening as well. There might possibly be one regarding the dog park. The town board meeting on the 24th of July, I will be returning from a weekend conference, so I will be necessarily absent. I'm hoping our deputy town supervisor's in town on July 24th.
I am.
Okay. And that is all I have. Okay, meeting minutes. We have the regular scheduled meeting of May 22nd. Meeting minutes for your consideration.
Moved.
Okay. Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the June 12th pay bills only meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain, as I was necessarily
One
absent.
abstention. Okay, very good. Manifest number 12, I'll ask our town clerk to please introduce that.
The Victor Town Board has reviewed manifest number 12 in the amount of $527,123.73 with the following accounts charged: General Townwide, General Outside Village, Highway Townwide, the lighting districts of Fishers, Brookwood Meadows, High Point, Cobblestone, Coil Ridge, Rolling Meadows, Stone Lay, and Legacy at the Fairways, S&S Consolidated Sewer Fund, and Trust and Agency.
Thank you, Karen. So up on the screen, you'll see first payment is Bluestone Creek Development, July rent for Parks and Rec. Payment to Colosino Industries, Pump Station 10 and 13 for the generator installations. Finger Lakes Monument for the Veterans Memorial Garden. Guardian Insurance, July Dental. Middleburger Materials, materials for Willis Hill. Payment to Integrated System for highway upgrades. Payment to LaBella Associates. There are chargebacks to developers equaling $20,926.25 within that invoice. Payment to MVP Health for the July healthcare. Payment to Midland Asphalt, chip sealing, Northern Highway Supply, bicycle road signs, ARPA funding, and I want to thank our highway superintendent. We mentioned it early at our workshop, Mark, and members of the Victor Hiking Trails and Citizens Advisory Committee are letting us know that those signs are out there, being put out there. So thank you very much for following up with that. Payment to New York State Comptrollers for the May court fees, payment to NOCO Energy, diesel fuel purchased, and payment to RG&E. The total of the above-mentioned expenditures is $469,841.55. Total town expenditures minus the previous mentioned expenditures equals $57,282.18. Any question on manifest number 12? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the payments hereof.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This evening, we have no request for privilege of the floor. Under public comments and concerns, we'll ask Susie first if she has anyone virtual. That would be no, and at this time, if there's any members of the public that care to address the town board, now is the time.
Good evening, Lisa Roberts, Wellington Drive in the Village of Victor. I wanted to publicly thank the board and the Highway Department for the new signs that are going up. This morning, I was riding my bike over to Dryer Road Park, as I do, to meet a group of people on Mondays. And I had to stop and take a sign. I forwarded it on to social media, the Rochester Bicycling Club president. Everyone is saying kudos. Thank you so much. I just want to comment, this group, we've met in Victor twice so far this year. We do a little bike ride. We have a little economic impact because we always get lunch after the bike ride, and we'd like to do that in the town that we ride our bikes in. So we had about 15 people go to lunch after the ride. And the other comment I have is I see more and more people on bikes everywhere. Families, kids, they can now ride with a little bit of safer feeling with those signs on the road so close to Dryer Road Park. That's where many of these people are going. And, you know, it's not far from the Auburn Trail. I see a lot of people on School Street. I see a lot of people on Dryer Road going to the park. So once again, thank you very much.
Thanks for providing that input. We appreciate that feedback.
And Lisa, I would like to say, as the chairperson of that CAC committee, when this decision was made to move forward with this, thank you for doing that, and certainly those efforts have come to fruition on this, but also on many other things that you've helped through that program.
Okay, if there's no other public comment, we'll move to reports of town officials, and we certainly have a number of them that were in your package. Starting with the Farmington Volunteer Fire Department report, down to Finance, Fishers Fire District, Gypsum Mills Stormwater Facilities comments, and I'm actually going to touch on that in my report as well. Report from our town historian, our highway superintendent. Amazing number with that pickup truck going to the auction. I'm afraid to ask what a new pickup truck costs today. Double? No. But, yeah, that's just amazing what you're able to get from the auction on that, Mark. A report from IT, Ontario County Humane Society, Ontario County Sheriff's Department. I am planning on sitting with the sheriff, a member of his organization, and a sergeant in the state police, just to continue to look at our roads again and the areas that they're focusing on, and ask them to focus on a few others. Dryer Road being one of them, because I am hearing more and more about folks heading over to the park. Parks and Recreation, concerts series are underway. We've had 2 already. And also the fishing derby, I did have an opportunity to go over the other day, or last Saturday, not this past Saturday, Saturday before, and Brian provided me an opportunity to distribute the medals and trophies for the winners. That was certainly well attended. And board members, I also had sent all of you a email encouraging you to attend concert series if you may, and and also your thoughts when we get into the budget season on the condition of Victor Municipal Park. And Lobella Associates going to take a look at, provide us with some core samples and some financial figures so we can start planning for next year and the following year. Planning and Building Department, Town Clerk's also has, we have training. Want to thank Karen for providing additional training for Kim and Brittany. Then there's a report of Victor Farmington Ambulance and the Victor Fire Chief's report. Karen, do you have other things you want to mention?
I do. We received a 30-day notice for an on-premise liquor license for the Old Pueblo Grill located at 235 High Street Extension. This will be for liquor, wine, beer, and cider. And they, does the board have any objections to that?
No objections.
No objections.
No
I
objections.
not only have no objections, I told them, get the place open. We're excited.
We also received a copy of a preliminary application of the Fowler Family Trust subdivision in Farmington, which is going to be at 6240 Pheasants Crossing. It's just, it's going to butt up to our property, and I have all the information if anybody wants to take a look at it. Sue Stelling called, and she would like to donate a bench or two for the Veterans Memorial Park in her husband's name. Oh, I think that's a great idea. We could use something out
New
there.
benches or benches she has in her backyard?
She would work with, I know, she's a former member of Boughton Park, and I know Boughton Park has had a number of families that have donated benches in memories of loved ones, and so that's something we'll certainly,
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
We talked about that at the dedication.
I know.
you
Here she is.
Dressing it up and put some benches in there,
Yep.
and certainly a great memorial for Will.
So Brian, we may pick your brain on type of benches as well. You understand Mother Nature and what they'll last and stuff like that.
Okay, we did receive a speed study. I think I forwarded it to the board members.
It was shocking. I couldn't believe they didn't
Well-
approve it.
Well, and it was done last June, a year ago. We just got the report for High Street between Route 96 and Highview Trail. And of course, no reduction in speed was determined, so.
So is that 96 from the village, or is this from East, New York Beer Project to how that's a good,
I think it's from there. I think it's from the Beer Project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Because the other side would be from the village
Yeah.
line, I assume.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
What's interesting with that is, obviously, my full-time job is at that fire station there that is within that short stretch. Pulling with a fire truck or an SUV, pulling a regular vehicle out of that fire station and making a left to go out towards 96. Cars are coming over that hill so fast that you almost have to just pedal to the metal to jolt it out and make that swing out before someone comes over the hill. So I see it every day. I'm up there 48 hours a week. I see how fast cars come through there, and it's concerning.
And the last thing I have on my list, sorry, this all happened today, kind of. Tomorrow, Kim is going to send out a report on an unsafe structure, and the property is located at 6698 Richardson Road. The house went up for taxes, and the person that bought it, they found there's like a fuel oil leak in the back, so DEC's involved, and so,
That's what the big hole is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but Adam is taking this, because he has to go through the whole process.
Right.
With the town, and so you'll be getting, I gave Jack a hard copy here, but she's gonna forward everything to you, all of you. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Karen. I want to thank all the board members for your participation in the Memorial Day Parade, and then the Veterans Memorial Monument dedication as well. I want to thank Councilman Cusimano and his daughter singing, and then the comments by Councilman Kohovic. So thank all of you for that. I want to thank our Wellness Committee, and specifically Brittany Pender from the deputy in the town clerk's office. We had a wellness initiative called Walk Across America Challenge, and we did extremely well. We actually had 37 out of our, I think, 55 employees that participated, so job well done, Brittany. And then, In your mailbox over the last month, you had, as mentioned, the Victor Fire District and the final New York State equalization rate. I also left you a copy of using eminent domain to remake a mall in the Buffalo area. In addition, there should have been a letter at one point regarding the Phillips Road land. This is from a Tim Driscoll, Fairport. Now, this is a piece of property that been a couple times conversation with the planning department regarding a solar project, so still uncertain whether or not that will even get to an application point. I also, as I mentioned at the workshop, and I want to mention again here for this meeting, the Victor Hiking Trails 2023 Hall of Fame inductees are Mr. Larry Fisher, Jeff Hennick, Chauncey Young, and David Wright. And then the Friends of Victor Hiking Trails inductees will be our own Mr. Brian Emelson and Mr. Rick Williams. There'll be a volunteer dinner and the recognition to take place in the month of October. And our clerk had mentioned the DOT's findings on that study on the west end. I also want to mention that we have a new post-65 retirement healthcare insurance member. It's our 20th. It's the town of Niskayuna, which is in the Albany, Schenectady area. And it was interesting. Niskayuna High School lost to the team that the Victor boys played in the varsity finals. Was it Garden City? Garden City, yeah, so it was, and then, I also want to mention that I did receive, Chief Chapman, Fishers Fire District, has retired. Last Friday was his last day. He's hoping to come back as a volunteer. He's going to go through the volunteer process. We did put together a proclamation, and I had the privilege of recognizing him last Friday afternoon. There was a nice little going-away event put on by the members of the Fishers Fire Department. Other agencies also showed up as well, and I think it was nice recognition. His wife was there and his daughters. In addition to what Mr. Heltz, who is the president of the commissioners at this point, he identified what the leadership will be. Actually, they have 4 lieutenants. One of our town board members is one of those lieutenants. So the 4 lieutenants will actually be the leadership with Mr. Heltz as, I guess if you looked at the chain of command, he would be the individuals you would go to if there was a request for overtime, equipment repairs, things of that nature. So the intention is to provide or find a replacement for Chief Chapman. How soon that'll happen remains to be seen, but the interim coverage is here. In addition, the Fishers Fire District, through resolution, have identified 2 out of the 3 members that will serve on a committee to talk with the Mendon Fire Department as well as the Honeoye Falls Department. And those 2 departments, I think, have a committee of 3 as well to talk about the potential regionalization. One member is Commissioner Tony Carfagno, and then Josh Jones, who is the union rep. The 3rd member will be whenever this new chief is hired. So, as I mentioned, all of you should have received a copy of the Gypsum Mill stormwater facilities, and I asked Keith to do this because not too long ago we've had some Gypsum Mills residents here, and I also heard from a few angry one that because I guess between taxes and then the owners are putting on another 3% surcharge onto the residents over there, and the individuals were directing their comments that it's the town board that's raising this 3% is because of our action. Well, as you know, that the golf course falls under the stormwater management facilities area. Over 100 letters were sent to property owners in the town of Victor. that are not in the drainage improvement area that own stormwater facilities. These inspections, inspection reports were done and identified areas where they needed to address some issues. The inspection report for the Gypsum Mills stormwater facilities was submitted to the town of Victor on April 29, 2021. Identified several concerns regarding the stormwater facility. Most of the concerns were a result of lack of maintenance by the property owner. A remediation plan complete with plans and a schedule to address the concerns was submitted to the town of Victor on October 15, 2021. Work began in the fall of 2021, and the work to address the concerns was substantially completed in the spring of 2023. So, the landowner that owns the park, certainly lack of maintenance forever, and subsequently then he's turning around and passing those increases on to the residents there. And so, again, the finger pointing, I think we have to be compliant as a stormwater facilities town, and that's, this is part of the process, unfortunately. So it's unfortunate. I would assume if there's anyone renting that rented from us, if they live in an apartment here in the town, and if that apartment complex incurred any fees, they'd be probably done the same thing, passing those along. So it's unfortunate. I thought that Keith explained it well, probably 2 months ago, but I felt the need to say something here again. So, town board members, have any committee they would like to report on?
Yeah, I got a couple things. First of all, Drew, on the Fishers Fire Department report, it's very interesting to me that number of calls are at 523, whereas between both Farmington and Victor, they don't even come close, adding the two together. So you guys have been busy, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it matched last year. I think actually year-to-date for the end of the month, we were almost the same. So
It's interesting because the note says 380 as of,
I wonder if that either was drawn on a different date or a typo, because I know, and the reason I say this was our chief said it at his, I believe his retirement thing Friday, was he found it funny that like the day he was retiring, we were at the same number of calls from last year to this year, but still compared to when I started in 2014, our calls have gone up dramatically.
obviously. So keep up the good work.
Thanks.
But in line with that, I had, as my duties with the Victor Fire Department, they have a request in for us to start to discuss property tax reduction for first responders, primarily firemen. But I think that's something that we need to consider as a way to recognize kind of that entity within our community that does a lot of good work, a lot of important work that we really could, be without. So they have a proposal that they submitted. I copied everybody on the board. I sent it to you guys. Let's take a look at that. Let's talk about what that would look like between Rich and Marlene. We'll have to look at that also. But certainly, I think there's something we could do as a way of honoring their service. So that's something I want us to consider as we go
It was for
forward.
volunteers, Ed, or for paid?
Both.
Both.
That's the way I was looking at it.
I believe it's for volunteers.
I
Volunteers.
thought it was volunteers.
Is it only volunteers?
Strictly volunteers, yeah.
I thought it was volunteers, yeah.
And I don't specifically recall the fine details of the legislation, but I believe, I know that each taxing entity, so the school would have to do it, the town would have to do it, each entity would have to do it, and I believe it's up to 10% of your property taxes, but the AHJ could say, I believe for your own district, we're going to do 5% or 7%.
Well, it's based on hours. I mean, it's got to be legit. They got to be a legit volunteer. I mean, there's guidelines of how many hours. they
Every
have to-
year, the department will have to sign off that they've met their minimum requirements.
Requirement,
But I think
right.
as far as the percentage reduction that you would give, I believe that comes down to, for example, the town to decide whether it would be anything up to 10%.
Right.
But let's not lose sight of that as we go forward, because I think that's important. Obviously, we talked earlier as part of the hiking trails, but we have a lot of trouble getting volunteers for a lot of different things. And this is one that's a critical function that we need to make sure that if there's anything we can do that would help with retention and recruitment, that's, a piece that we would own. So I think that's important. So I just wanted to bring that up. And then I sent a couple other things regarding The planning board, as a reminder, tomorrow is primary election. So planning board will be meeting on Wednesday this week, not tomorrow night, Wednesday night. And they were looking for some direction as we move forward with densities and things from a PDD perspective. So follow up with me when you get a chance. That's it.
Yes, to your point, you had sent an email out on the 19th of June, and I will definitely respond, and I'll reply all, because there's some things have changed, there's no question about that. Certainly, the housing demands, the type of housing have also changed since, adoptions of comp plans, or also certainly what was described as potential build-out as well. So, as far as the volunteer tax incentive, would you like me to have Sean McAdoo come here?
Yeah, why don't we have him do a presentation?
Okay.
That'd be good.
Is that something, I don't know if, if it'd be worthwhile just to, I know the president of the Fishers Association, Peter Marasco, it almost could be, if we're going to do something, obviously, I think it's going to be a town-wide thing. So I don't know if we just start right from the get-go with both of the entities from within our town. Or is it an invitation to discuss that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Again, Sean's the one who kind of floated it to me first because of my relationship with the Victor Fire Department. So he's trying to do the proper chain of command, so to speak.
Yep.
And then I brought it to the board, but however you want to do that with Fishers, yeah, I would think
Yeah,
would be.
and certainly that's, I don't serve in any way to be a liaison to them, but I know maybe the supervisor's liaison could pass that message along, just so that the conversation could be had once with,
Yep.
with all the, it's only two, but all relevant parties.
Agreed.
I don't mean to be facetious, but with our rate of volunteerism, it probably won't be a very significant financial impact,
No.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, correct, especially more so in the Fishers Fire District. What do we have, 6, 7 volunteers, but out of that, I don't know how many qualify either.
I'm not sure. I know that and I'm not sure if there'd be a interior, or I would assume exterior would count too, but, we have one person that's a volunteer that is qualified to enter a structure. But I think currently we have 7 volunteers.
Okay. And could you provide myself in the clerk's office Peter's contact information?
happy to.
for us? Thank you.
I had a couple of comments, Supervisor Marion. I was confused on that letter from the LLC. Do we or do we not currently have a moratorium on solar development in the town of Victor? I thought we did.
No, I don't think we do.
We don't.
No,
Okay.
because I think we put we might have done the moratorium years ago, and then I think made some added some language within the code.
Okay. All right, that was the first question I had. Second, things are just really a couple of comments. I wanted to thank Rich publicly. I mean, people get busy with their lives, but that report is so transparent that you put out, every month or so for us. And it just, we're keeping an eye on the ball, where we're doing well. And it's very, very helpful, I think, to all the board members. Really, really appreciate that. And that was it.
Thank you. You good? Okay. Moving to the business section, we have one resolution from Human Resources, is the authorization to appoint Isabel Burnham to the full-time cleaner position.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
On the Parks and Rec Department,
Yeah, can we block 2 through 8, which are all agreements that they're going to make with various entities for different programs throughout, basically the summer.
I would second that.
okay. Yes, and just to expand on what Councilman Kohovic's requesting is for us to take them as a block, all in one course of action. And these are from yoga to Happy Pirates Magic Show so a number of these. So with that said, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So resolutions 2 through 8 have been approved. Number 9, request of certificate liability insurance waiver.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, Dry Road Parking Improvement Seeker, and these are parts 2 and 3.
So moved.
Second.
And we are declaring a negative declaration. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I drove over there just the other day. It looks really good, Brian. It's coming along nice.
Okay, number 10 is the Veterans Memorial Garden redesign. And again, exceeded the budget a bit, but well worth it. And this is change order for $3,000, bringing the total cost to $18,000.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And thank you, Ed, for everything you did with that. I appreciate it.
Wasn't me, it was a lot of other people.
And thank Brian for his crew planting all the flowers, or, the bushes and everything. That was nice, too.
Thank you, Brian.
And number 12, this is to reopen the public hearing on July 24th to 7. This is the sanitary sewer. You recall when we had the public hearing, there was a letter received from Joe Hurley after speaking with our town engineers and the building and planning department, and felt there was certainly no harm in including this area of the town. So we'll have the reopening of the public hearing on the 24th, and after comments are taken, close the public hearing then.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 13, authorization to enter into an equipment agreement with the Village of Victor to purchase a 18-foot trailer. And this is more about, we've had equipment agreements with them in the past. This is adding a new piece of equipment as part of this intermunicipal agreement.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
14, 2022 pump station improvements. This is adding, this is for EFA 1s and 2s. Again, the hopes of negative declaration under the seeker.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, number 15, setting the public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the Uniform Construction Code. Again, this will take place on the 24th. I will ask either Kim or Keith, if they or both, to attend that meeting as well. I know, Kevin, you were involved with that as well, I think, when we sat, so.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
From the clerk's office, we have Scout Reserve Lot 2. This is a final letter of credit.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 17, release number 5 for Southgate.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 18, letter of credit. This is for grading only. Release number.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 19, letter of credit for the Fairways Phase 3. Release number 2 for site work.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 20, letter of credit. Release number 2 for the clearing, grubbing, and erosion and sediment control.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
21, accepting the surety on the 7200 Rawson Road for the property fill permit. Dollar amount identified in the second whereas.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 22 is the Drumlin subdivision, Section 3, Phase 2, letter of credit. This is the final release.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Number 23, setting the public hearing to amend the Conifer Village. This is an increase in parking up there. Public hearing again on the 24th of this next month.
So moved.
Second.
Hi, if I could just speak on
Yes. You withdrawing your application? Is that what you're telling us?
that. Not trying to. My name is James Ritzenthaler. I'm here with Passero Associates on behalf of the Conifer Village there. I just wanted to, while I was here, get your thoughts on something real quick. So we have gone before you guys. We went before the Planning Board and the Ontario County Planning Board as well. In all those meetings, it's come to our attention that it will now be, it was a suggestion by, I believe it was the planning board for Victor that the 7 parallel parking spaces that are existing on site that are currently not up to code would need to be removed, and that would be a requirement based on the approval that we get. So we wanted to, just before we took it further to a public hearing, at least get a feeling of the board, feeling of the town's thoughts on a possible modification just to bring those 7 parallel parking spaces up to code. I wanted to do that here before we set a public hearing. If this is something that you guys would not like to see right now, then just let me know, but I just wanted to present that if you give me the opportunity.
What type of work would need to be done to make those parallel parking spaces up to code?
So right now, there's only about 19 to 20 feet between the edge of the parallel parking spaces and the perpendicular spaces that are existing and to code. What we would present would be this, similar to how we have our perpendicular parking going in with the walls. It would only be about a 6, it's about a 6 or 7 foot extension with a much shorter wall going in order to provide the necessary space there to keep those 7 parallel parking spaces and bring them out to code. So it would just be kind of a bump out there.
And those were comments from the Victor Planning Board?
Yeah, it was the planning board and the Ontario County Planning Board that both were not, well, the Ontario County Planning Board was aware of it because of the Victor Planning Board comments. But yeah, they were going to require that those 7 spaces be removed in order to move forward with that. At least that's what they told me in our meeting here.
And you're hoping not to remove them?
Well, so the client currently says that if those 7 spaces were to be removed and then we're moving forward with 15 spaces, they're saying that that difference of 8 would not really make this project really viable, and unfortunately it wouldn't cover the needs that they really have. Currently, if you're aware of the site, and I know you are, the parking situation is a bit of a mess on the site as it is. They're pretty much at capacity. They have 88 units. Some of those are currently not rented, and with 2 people living in a unit, you very quickly run out of spaces. There's 79 spaces existing on site that are in code, 86 with these 7 out of code here. To bring in these 15 and bring these 17 up to code, we would be at 101, which they feel would put us in a really comfortable spot. So,
And your client is okay with that plan to make those parallel spaces to code and have to build that
Yes.
small retaining wall?
Yeah.
The only thing for having a kind of an intimate knowledge of that area, the only thing that I would say would be the parallel parking spaces that are most to the north or towards the front of the building. So the ones that you would have to push out.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there. So the parallel spot number 1 and number 2 there are difficult for emergency vehicles to make that maneuver around. So currently you guys in that first spot have a no parking sign because we've run into issues with the turning radius and not being able to maneuver larger vehicles through that. So my opinion, would be that so long as they are created to code and that will also resolve the issue of larger wheel-based vehicles making it through there safely, I think that it certainly accomplishes the project, and I 100% would understand why losing those spots would kind of negate the benefit of the overall expense of doing the project. So as long as it allows for those vehicles to get through and it's done to code, I would be fully supportive of it.
and to piggyback on that as well, one of the questions to us during the planning board was, with the removal of those 7 out-of-code spots, what are the steps that would be taken to enforce that? Because, people are used to parking there, you can black out the spots, but there's still people that may park there if needed. This would also take any issue out of that scenario where an emergency vehicle ends up getting in there and somebody parked there anyways. It would take out any need for that enforcement and bring those spots up to code. So,
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, and I would advocate for what they're proposing because that exact situation happened where a vehicle shouldn't have been parked there, did park there, and a fire truck was not able to get through but had to, and ended up causing some damage to the vehicle. So I think bringing that to a code compliant status up there meets the demands of the of the residents, and overall would be a success, I think.
yeah.
Any other thoughts? Kind of defer to our fire, our lieutenant.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me personally, I mean, I think we set the public hearing and, you know, get up there and scope out the site a little bit more. And I mean, it's the first time I've seen it. I'd like to see something a little bit, you could send me a copy of that or something. Take a look.
Yeah, I actually have a couple 11 by 17s if you'd like.
That'd be good.
But Drew, as part of the planning board, that was a big concern of theirs, is
Yeah.
the emergency vehicles being able to get in and navigate through that
Yeah,
parking lot.
and I think of all,
Thanks.
prior to this project being proposed, if you had asked me in the last 5 years, name a few places that are difficult to maneuver around, this would be number one.
Yeah.
So I think it's, I was actually very excited to see it proposed to correct some of this stuff. But I will say that Bob Graham, working through this, has done a very nice job up there to work with the management to try to, make it as safe as possible.
Thank you for this.
Well, I guess
And this was something that we, in talks with our client, we just kind of came up with Friday and today, so I didn't get a chance to
No, it's
send it
all
out
right.
to anybody. But if you'd like any electronic copies, I can send them out
No, it's
tomorrow, so.
I'll get my bearings when I get up there.
Okay.
I'll take my big truck up there, see if I can turn it.
have one. Clerk will take electronic copy.
Okay.
And then send it to
Yeah,
building and planning, right,
yep,
Karen?
yep.
Yeah. But in general, yes, no concerns with the addition or the adjustment, and I think we can set the public hearing.
Greg? Thank you very much.
We have a motion on this.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing on the 24th. Okay, public comments. Opportunity for public comment. We'll check with Susie. No one on that way. And members of the public.
Hello, I don't know if we're doing the name and address thing anymore, but so I'm so used to it, I'll just do it anyway, besides most people know. Randy Shea, 50 West Main Street, Victor, New York. I was involved with the design and putting together the monument and getting everything set up for that, and I think most people know that and have expressed their appreciation. One of the things along the way, as I was working on it, was finding out that for close to 2 years, maybe more, but at least 2 years, the lights were not shining on the flags at night. And so redoing the electric was something that probably should have been done anyway, so it just seemed to make sense to include that, and very appreciative of the town, upping their budget a little bit, doing a great job. I believe that at the same time that the village wasn't willing to come forward with any funding, they actually came forward with a very great contribution in the work of John Turner and his crew. I came out a couple times while they were having a few challenges with the design, and was able to assist, and I believe it helped make it better. What I will say, though, is last year was very traumatic for me. Both the town supervisor and the director of development took inappropriate actions related to me, associated with my behavior and how I was involved, and I still have not received an apology. I'm going to say positive things when there's positive things and negative when they're negative. And I'm very disappointed in you, Jack, and I will continue to express myself You can go ahead and tell me how you appreciate me and appreciate veterans, but when you try to do things that take away our rights without due process under the law, you know that letter you sent to me was illegal. It was an illegal attempt to try to stop me from coming to meetings. When you gave me permission to come to 3 meetings, I came to the one that you did not give me permission for, and I purposely did that, and I asked you the question, whether or not I could legally be here, and your answer was yes. That was because that certified letter you sent to me was never legit. I don't expect you to say anything in public about it now, but what you did last year caused me to leave the Legion. I'm not a volunteer anymore. One of the reasons I took my shirt off at that one meeting, which you joked around about, what you joked around with other people about concerning my behavior, trying to make me seem like I was some kind of out of touch, crazy person, even possibly even domestic terrorist, hiding things that happened in formal records related to why that even happened in the first place. I still have not any clue as to who accused me of what. Just because somebody might say a few words that you don't like or in a way that you don't like does not mean you can take a people's rights away to the First Amendment. That's why soldiers go and fight and die for this country. So that kind of thing should not happen anywhere in America. I know it's happening in a lot of communities. People are found guilty before even having a chance to defend themselves, and I'm saying what you did was totally inappropriate, uncalled for, unjustified, and I and most of my friends have no idea why you thought that was right. Somehow it was going to protect public safety, and then you were going to hide the meetings and not reveal them, I don't know, executive session or whatever you do. There was no public comment. I mean, I had a friend who foiled it. No information whatsoever. Why would that be? You think I'm going to target those people? Or you're going to project that I'll target those people and try to get revenge when I'm not that type of person in the first place? That narrative is totally wrong. The fact that you did it and the fact that you're such a very skilled politician scares me, because you could move up in government. But if that's the kind of thing that people can do without being addressed by it, then I do not want you to move up in government. I'd like you to get out.
For the record, the village did do an outstanding job. They also invoiced us for their work, too. Okay, board members, I need a motion to go into executive session for rule number 3. This is the proposed acquisition, sale, lease of real property when publicity might affect the value. I would like to have our town board members, Finance Director Rich O'Donnell, Highway Superintendent Mark Gears, and Ms. Casey with him, Harris Beach Attorney Kevin Overton, and Mr. Metzger from Labella. When we finish up with that dialogue, we are then going to, under rule number 2, have a executive session just with Kevin Overton and the town board. So we'll, 2 actions, the first one with the larger group and the second one with a smaller group, so.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I, for the record, anticipate no action. We'll call for an adjournment at the conclusion, so. Thank you.
This is your